Hey everybody, it's Desiree and welcome to Road2Par, the podcast. Here we'll be helping you enhance your golf experiences through a little education, a little entertainment, and events and travel. So stay tuned, we have some live interviews that'll be coming up and just talking more in depth about the golf community and where we are, where we've been, and where we're going. So stay tuned for your Road to Par. All right, welcome everybody. It's your girl Desiree, and welcome to Road to Par, the podcast. For our additional viewers who are going to be on YouTube, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so excited. First of all, it is early, y'all. So let's see, what time is it right now? It is 8 o'clock, and I will tell you, I've had the amazing pleasure for the past 3 hours. Yes, I've been up since like 4 o'clock to be with this amazing gentleman right here, Ben Ellis, right?
Yep, Ben Ellis.
Ben Ellis was very, very wonderful to invite me out. I'm out here at Fort Belvoir Golf Club. And he is the head superintendent. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you what, this course looks amazing. He has done a phenomenal job. And I wanted to share with everybody the inside, not just the golfer's perspective, but the superintendent perspective. So, Ben, thank you for having us.
Thanks for being out here. We appreciate it.
I mean, the course looks great.
The faster that you drive by, the better it looks, I swear. At least it's green, and green is good, right?
Awesome. So how long have you been a super?
So I've been a superintendent for the past 10 years at least. I was the assistant superintendent at Andrews Air Force Base Golf Course. I then got the head superintendent job over there, then spent some years there, got the superintendent job at Paint Branch Golf Course, and unfortunately when we got the word that they were about to be sold to Maryland for their changes, the job opened up here at Belvoir, and it was a very interesting opportunity for me to come here, since this is actually where I started as a golf course employee back in 2003. Wow. So it was a good full circle coming back and, kind of being home, because this used to be my boss's office, or it was, this was our shop where I learned how to change cups, where I learned to mow greens. And we even have a few employees still here who are the ones that helped me or helped train me to do the job.
That's amazing. So this is, home in so many ways, right? And I will tell you all, if you all can see behind us, he has quite the collection of amazing golf posters and golf balls and Air Force One replica from working at Andrews, which I'm sure that was pretty exciting.
Was an experience that you would see things there that you wouldn't see anywhere else, that's for sure.
Wow. A golf course unlike many others, I'm sure. But I'll tell you all, so being in a superintendent's office is, I can't imagine, we actually just took 3 hours on course. Mm-hmm. And we saw from tee to green, and we talked about so much in terms of the maintenance. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of give our viewers a day-to-day perspective of what a superintendent, from the morning you get here, because it was dark, y'all, I'm telling you right now, it was like nighttime when I got here. I was like, I hope I'm driving in the right place.
Yeah, it's every golf course is different, but the majority of it, you go in, you still have to plan your day, you have to assign jobs to your crew. Typically in our case, that's mowing greens. We rate the bunkers daily. We're looking at fairway mowers, rough mowers, who we have here that day. Mm-hmm. We're looking at, throughout the day, we look at, do we have to hand water greens? Do we need to irrigate anything? Planning our fertilizer program, our soil and nutrient management programs, your pest management programs, and all of that is going through your mind throughout the whole day.
This is a daily thing.
This is daily because, everything changes day in and day out. Yes, mm-hmm. A lot of people have their set plans that they do, and that's great, or they plan for it, but, things can change. Right. 1 week we have hot weather and we can't put down enough water on the greens, and then 2 weeks later it won't stop raining. Like now,
I was gonna say we got a little rain today,
and we don't need any more rain. We want to get the water to stop so the greens can dry up. They can breathe a little bit. You know, looking at aerifying. Do we need to aerify?
Mm-hmm.
Because keep in mind, we are managing and taking care of living, breathing plants that we're mowing at a fraction of an inch. We're mowing at the height of a dime, basically.
Wow.
So you're looking at that. How do you get grass to grow at that? Yes, there's special grasses. They're adapted for that.
Mm-hmm.
However, you still have to be on top of it because grass can dry out. It can get hot. If the sun comes out.
Right.
You also have people walking across the greens all day long.
Well, and so that brings up a really good point because obviously 2020 is a very unique year for us right now. We have a pandemic, which has, I would say, revitalized golf in many different ways. And that pandemic, from my understanding, talking to a lot of people in the different golf courses and industry, is you have more players come out, and you might have some challenges in terms of, so we talked about it earlier, as we golfers go out, we just pay our fee and we hit the course. And we're like, okay, let's fix our divots and, try to keep the course as beautiful as we found it. But from your perspective, how have the changes been actually with COVID? And how does that work into keeping that daily mental process of keeping the course in pristine condition?
So originally we were shut down. We got told to close operations March 23rd of this year, I believe.
Okay.
For 3 weeks, I was the only person on the property at all.
Wow.
So I would come in, I'd mow greens on one golf course, and then mow something else later.
Wait, by yourself?
By myself. I was completely here. I was the only one on the property whatsoever.
Wow.
And that was an odd experience too.
I can't even imagine. It's like Will Smith. What was that movie when he was like all by himself?
I Am Legend.
He's the legend, y'all.
But so we were actually closed longer than anybody else around.
Okay.
And that was a call from higher up leadership that was much higher than what we wanted. Although Virginia golf courses never officially closed, we were still, a lot of the county operated courses and other golf courses did close for safety reasons.
Okay.
So we closed. We didn't open till actually June 30th was our opening day.
Wait. So when did the course close?
March 23rd.
And when did you all open up?
June 30th.
That's a lot of time in between.
It was, which actually was very beneficial for us to be able to do things on the golf course. Because on March 24th, we went out, aerified the fairways. So a lot of the work that we would normally do around golfers, or that would be extremely disruptive, we got in, we jumped right on it.
Wow.
And I know a lot of courses, they did the same thing. They were out airifying greens right away, even though that they weren't necessarily scheduled for it. They're like, well, this is a great chance. We have
the
new
time
golfers.
to do so.
Do it.
Yeah.
We were able to do a lot of different odd-end projects, tree work, to kind of get stuff prepared for the golfers to return.
Okay.
Now that we do have the golfers back, it was definitely a change. We do have more golfers than what we have had in a while, which is, for me, great.
Okay.
Without golfers, I don't have a job. Simple as that. Without golfers, I don't have a job.
Right.
So I need players. The biggest with that does become more ball marks, more divots, absolutely. And it's up to the golfers to be the ones to fix that, fix their ball marks on greens, to fill the divots with sand or however that course wants it to be.
Right.
So trying to find that balance is definitely our challenge. But then what a lot of people aren't realizing, and definitely for public golf courses, cart traffic. Since right now most, I won't say most, but many golf courses are giving everybody their own golf cart.
True.
Unless you're in either the same household or you're within close relationship, however it is. That's you have a foursome that goes from 2 golf carts to 4 golf carts. That's double the amount of cart traffic that you're driving in the same areas, driving over this grass, driving over the rough, driving over the fairways. And I talked to one golf course, to one superintendent a few weeks ago, and he's like, this car traffic's killing us. And
so the level of play, while good for the economics of the golf industry, also come with challenges.
Yes.
As you're saying with the golf carts, and also golfers need to be mindful. I mean, if you're a golfer, we need to help our superintendents, help our golf courses stay as beautiful as they are. I know we talked earlier, some private courses may have more manpower. And at any given time, how many people actually work on your crew?
So normally we would like, for 36 holes out here, we aim for 20, which is still low for staff. With COVID and us being required to have a hiring freeze, we are operating the course with 7 at the moment.
Wait.
Which includes me.
Wait. 7?
7.
All right. So I'm going to tell everybody right now, you have to come out to Fort Belvoir because the courses are gorgeous. 2 beautiful courses, the Gunston and Woodlawn. And drove through 36 holes today from the sun up. And I will tell you, I don't see how, 7 people, and they're doing a phenomenal job at it. I'll have to, your crew is amazing there, and everyone's super nice, and they're out there just diligently working. And first of all, thank you all, because as a golfer, we appreciate the work that you all do. But that's a lot.
Yes, and a lot of people don't ever see the crew out there a lot of times, but our crew's working all kinds of hours, and these guys are just putting it in and working hard. I can't do my job without them.
Right.
For me to come in and actually spend time inside the office to do payroll or to do office work means that I'm not on the physical golf course. I'm in the office. And so I have to trust that they're out there staying on top of stuff, and they have been taken to it, and they want to see a good golf course.
Right.
They're taking a lot of pride in what they do, and there's days that I'll go out and they don't sit still. Like, I won't even assign them other jobs because they already have stuff that they want to do, and they're like, hey, can I go do this?
Right.
Can I go take care of this? Absolutely. Go for it. And, we have had to tweak a few things, the way we mow our mowing schedules. Yes, we would like to mow the fairways a lot more frequently, mow the rough a lot more frequently. But, trying to get everything done has been
Bit of a challenge.
Been a challenge, but having to make it work,
Right.
pick our priorities, try to really give the best product that we can for the golfers, because after all, we're not here for May.
Right.
We're here for the golfers, for those people paying to play here.
Right.
Military, everybody's actually able to play here, so that's
And that's a additional bonus, I would
yes.
say. Some courses that are on military bases are just for military members, and we appreciate all of their service, and I think that's amazing.
Yes.
But I'm sure as a golf perspective, sometimes you can't function just on the military members, and so a lot of them do open up in terms of the financial component. And Fort Belvoir, the course is near, the other course is Andrews, which is in the area. Are there any other military courses in this area?
That's it. The old soldiers home, I don't know.
I think they're closed now.
They're kind of,
yeah,
it's closed,
a
it's
little
not
different.
closed, it's closed, not closed. That's a whole different podcast, whole different
Listen,
world.
I drive by it every day and I'm like, Oh, that'd be cool if it were like an open course.
We need to talk about that after this, because
Yeah.
I got some insight on that one.
Yeah, we
So.
used to have a family friend that lived there, and so when I would drive by, and I'm like, wait, is that a golf flag? Like, wait. But yeah, definitely. Let's talk about that all next time.
Yeah.
So we talked about the crew, and the amazing work that they do. Because I'll tell you all, when I got here at 5 o'clock, I think I was still wiping the crusties out of my eyes. I was like, is there coffee? Coffee anywhere? But the crew rolled in, and they were just like, what do we do next? And just phenomenal, their dedication. We were driving out there, and I would see, they were out there doing their job. And I will tell you, and I said this to them, you all are the unsung heroes of this industry, because there's so much work that goes into making these courses as beautiful as they are. One of the things we talked about earlier too was not just your work here as a superintendent, but you also are with the Maryland Turf Council.
Yep. So currently I am the president of the Maryland Turfgrass Council.
Okay.
And so what the Maryland Turfgrass Council does is we support the turfgrass industry in Maryland. Since I actually do live in Maryland, I'm from Maryland, actually from here, but live in Maryland, have always worked in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
So we support turfgrass education,
Mm-hmm.
and turf managers in the state of Maryland.
Wow.
So, and that doesn't only include the golf course superintendents.
Mm-hmm.
It includes landscape managers, sod farmers, lawn care people. Everybody involved in turf of some sort
Mm-hmm.
is a part of the Maryland Turfgrass Council. Sports turf has been also one of our larger growing components, because there are a lot more sports fields out there again now, being built, being renovated, and trying to keep everybody to have healthy lawns and healthy stuff.
Wow.
That are safe and legal, and try to encourage turf industry, the turf profession, while keeping everybody compliant
Right.
with all the laws and regulations. And
Yeah.
it's definitely there's some hot topics in there.
Right.
But
I'm just amazed that this exists, because when we think about golf, we think about the golfer, the pro shop, the equipment. How often do we get to talk about our superintendents?
Mhm.
And to know that there actually are groups that are helping promote education. Because I think you said that these turf councils are in every state.
pretty much, I believe so. All the states that I do know of have them, and they all support the schools that they and they support education in the foundation of the turf industry. So, and that's fantastic.
Now, do you all have mentoring or youth education programs that help youth into careers?
So currently the Golf Course Superintendents Association actually does have one of their programs. It's called the First Green program.
Oh, wow.
Unlike the First Tee program, the First Green is where golf courses will actually take groups of school children.
Okay.
We would actually bring them out to a golf course, and we'd actually do hands-on STEM labs, science,
Right.
technology. And we definitely see a improvement in people taking to that.
Okay.
We did one at Andrews that we actually took a high school. Normally it was originally kind of designed for younger students around 5th and 6th grade, but I felt we could do something with high schoolers.
Absolutely.
I think, getting a high school in there for kids who can kind of comprehend a little bit more than I felt. And we brought out soil samples, we did water sampling labs,
Right.
we actually let the kids play golf,
Oh,
hit
wow.
range balls. We measured out like what an acre like an actual acre of fairway was.
Wow.
And actually, my wife, who was actually part of it,
Mhm.
since she's a high school teacher, she's the one who helped to put everything.
Yeah.
all
God
the
bless her.
pieces in.
High school teachers. Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. So and you know that's always a joke because my busy season, you know, the summer is
Right.
her slower
Off
season,
season, yeah.
and then when you know the winter months and it's cold, it's Christmas time. You know, those are typically my slower seasons,
Uh-huh.
and that's where she's got grades due and different
Aw.
stuff. So it's like, yeah, I see her in the spring and fall a little bit.
Well, I'm pretty sure you all have a great working situation there, because I will tell you all, I had a chance to meet her and she's amazing, and they have 2 wonderful doggies. I joked, I said, I wish I could take my dogs with me to work, because that'd be amazing. And they're sweet pups, and your wife was wonderful, so I appreciate her. So getting back to, because that youth program
Yes.
sounds amazing. So,
Mhm.
you know, one of the things that I'm very passionate about is kids having an opportunity to learn more about opportunities that they didn't know existed.
Yes.
And even as an adult, sometimes we find out opportunities that we didn't know existed.
Mhm.
And I think that you were spot on. High school is a really good age to give kids an opportunity to see other ways to live or have incomes. And so, is there an age that kids can start working on golf course grounds?
It depends on the course.
Okay.
I know if you're a family-owned business, it's probably, you know, hey, just go out.
Mhm.
In our case, you have to have a driver's license to work here.
Okay.
A lot of courses are 18. I started here at Fort Belvoir when I was 16 years old. I grew up 3 minutes away. I went to Hayfield High School, so I was right up the road here, and so it kind of turned into a career more than just a summer job.
Right.
And you know, something that I've tried to talk to people about, and when we did bring the school out, it was, although it was a science driven class, originally the class that we did bring out, there were kids who were in auto tech program, things like that. It's like, hey, we have to have equipment to operate the golf course.
Absolutely.
We have a full-time mechanic here at the shop. That's all they do. They maintain the golf equipment, the turf equipment, which is very specialized.
And they have a lot of it, y'all. Like, there's like a whole
Yeah, we're
hangar full of good equipment. Now, let me ask you a question with that, because I think that's very interesting, right? Because when we were out driving around, we talked about the equipment. We talked about the agronomy, but we also got to see a lot of electrical and plumbing, I guess you could say. So, I mean, there are just so many careers surrounded around what you do. Can you tell me about the par 3 that we stopped by? And we talked about, so as a golfer, we hate seeing water. How is it for a super when you see water?
So for us, we irrigate out of a pond.
Okay.
So we have a pond that's actually on property that we have a pumping system that pulls water in, and it actually takes it throughout the course. So you got a golf course. Underneath the ground, there's miles and miles of pipe, there's wires, there's sprinkler heads, all to move water around that property. There's valves, there's everything in the world down there that nobody will ever see, yet has to be completely maintained, and maintained every year and properly. Unfortunately, in our case this year, you know, we have to still manage our pond. You know, we have to figure out how to safely and environmentally treat a pond, and we have to do it the right way. We can't just put, you know, copper sulfate into a pond, which does help clean out algae, because although copper sulfate is very common for pools, I think not so much pools, but you know, ponds that are not necessarily for irrigation. Because copper sulfate will kill the greens.
We don't want to do that
So
now.
if we start throwing in bags of that, then it gets sucked through the intake of the pipe and out on the course. We lose the golf course.
Wow. So you're like it's like a balancing act. Like literally a daily balancing act on keeping this course beautiful, alive, and I mean it's amazing what you all do.
Golf course superintendents have to have a lot of different areas to cover between water management, irrigation, weather knowledge of some kind. I didn't know mine's probably not as good as what it should be, but they have to know math because math is a huge part of it, and I was terrible in math, but that's now half my job. So it's always a joke where I did horribly in math in school, yet that's half my job because I have to measure everything to, the 1,000 square feet. I have to measure, chemicals and stuff, very, very scientifically. But then you got electrical knowledge, you have plumbing knowledge, you have to get, equipment, have to have business management, because you're managing a business, you're managing people, you're managing turf, you're dealing with everybody.
Right.
So it's a lot of different pieces to put together. And to me, that's what interests me. It's the science, it's the art and science of growing grass, how I see it. And I try to explain that to my staff, and I think that's something that they've been really, really interested in really picking up, is that I explain why we're doing things. Hey, why are we mowing greens this way? Why are we hand watering? And trying to explain that and trying to explain why we do things, not just that we do them, gives them the opportunity to do a better job because they understand why they're doing it. And so it helps them to understand why things are working the way they are, then they pick it up a little better, and they care a little bit more. All that, teaching, training, mentoring is fun, and it's, a lot of people take to it. Others, it's definitely not their career passion to know everything about grass. And but there's, because I can talk sciencey grass and give all the Latin turf or stuff. Nobody will ever care about that. But pulling out, why are we doing certain things? Why are we fertilizing with this particular product? Why are we raking the bunkers this way? What's underneath the bunkers? There's drainage underneath the bunkers. There's drainage underneath the greens.
There's a lot you have to calculate. I mean,
and a lot goes into it, and that's to me what interests me the most.
Well, I mean, first of all, I applaud your dedication because, it's one of the things where, for most golfers, you walk into a golf course, and what's the one question you ask? Oh, what are the greens rolling? And I when I first walked in, it's like, I saw the board, and you had where the green was rolling. But there's so much more that goes into that. And I think that's really important for people to understand. When you come out to the course and you pay your money, there's a lot that's happening before you even get up in the morning. They're here already tending to the course. So, fun question for you.
Okay.
Because I'm looking around his office, and we've got golf balls from all kinds of places, which is phenomenal. 2 questions. 1, favorite course, and 2, favorite green speed to play on.
Favorite green speed to play on? I think that one is anywhere from, I think that in that, I gotta tell you, it goes by the course. Okay. And I say that because I've heard people love fast greens, they're great. I've played on greens that I think the greens are phenomenal, but they're too fast and that they weren't enjoyable for me. I've also played on greens that were a little slower, but the course was fantastic. So who cares if they were a little slow that day? The course was beautiful. There was grass on the greens. There was grass on the greens. So I definitely think that those are 2 things that are just, very different. Green speed should be thrown out the door.
I appreciate that answer because how often do we get to hear from a true professional, green speed conversations when we're not just looking at, what are they rolling? No. We're like talking to someone who actually sees the entire course for what it is. And can give a true and honest answer, which is, it really just depends on the course.
Now, I will say I do think that having all the greens to be somewhat consistent are fantastic. I do agree with that.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that a 12 is rolling 12s are that much better than a 10. As long as the ball rolls smooth and you have a good golf course, that's to me is a lot better.
I'll
I think
take a
smooth
10.
and all that.
I don't need my ball rolling off the back and just in
No.
case I hit it on the green or something.
No, and I've played golf courses that, especially older courses that have that the greens were never intended to be that fast, especially ones that were built in the 1800s or so.
Wow.
Great example, Columbia Country Club. Their greens are so severely sloped. They are fast greens. I will say, Steve's got those greens lightning fast. But to me, I almost found it unenjoyable to play on because there were greens that if I just tap the ball, I'm off the green.
Yeah, and that's tricky, right? Especially if you want to go out
and
for
it's
fun.
like I just want to have a good time. I'm not putting back and forth.
Yeah.
And we've seen that at Pinehurst when they had the Open a few years ago, and it was, even the pros couldn't hold a green. The ball was just rolling.
You saw them
off
all
of
kind of take their hat off, like, all right, how am I going to do this? I'm like, I should have made that.
To me, that's not enjoyable, and I think golf should be fun. I have a stimp meter here. I don't think I've brought it out this year because I just want consistent greens.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Now on the favorite golf course, though, favorite golf course has to be. I gotta say, Belvoir held Fort Belvoir golf course held more to me, is more personal than just a good golf course. The layout's great on one golf course. There's two different golf courses, so they're completely different. They're both fun. They're both enjoyable to play, but it's got more of a sentimental value to me. And I think that to me means more than, yes, I've walked Royal Port Rush and played that.
Okay.
And there, I enjoyed and that was absolutely great experience, phenomenal experience. I enjoyed the walk out there more than I enjoyed
The
golf because I didn't play real well, but I enjoyed the walk way more than anything, and just, taking that in. You got Royal County Down is up on that list. That was
So you're more of and I could be wrong from saying this.
A links style
I was gonna say a link
love
style
links,
player.
Love links courses. Love them. I love Ireland golf. I had the chance to play the old course at
Andrews.
Musselburgh.
Okay.
So actually, Scotland, that was a 9-hole golf course, and still is.
Okay.
It's actually inside. Half of it is inside a horse track, a racing track. And that was one of the original Open Championship courses. That was the home of Willie Park. That was Willie Park's course.
Serious?
And it's still there. And actually, that weekend they were actually planning to have a horse race. So the fences come down, and you can play in between.
That's crazy.
That was.
I've actually never heard of anything like that. That's amazing.
It's Musselburgh, old course.
I have to look that up. Maybe take a trip out there, right?
Me too. It's a fun. It's a fun golf course, and just because it's 9 holes doesn't mean it's any worse or better than if it's 18 holes.
Wow.
And that's the one thing I think a lot of people frown upon, like a 9-hole golf course. I remember when I got to Paint Branch, the look I got a lot of times went from 54 holes at Andrews to 9 holes. Is that a step down? I said no, not one bit. It's different.
Right.
It's fewer holes, yeah.
Right.
But it doesn't mean the course conditions have to be anything less.
And there's a lot of people that go to Paint Branch. Well,
it was packed.
yeah, Paint Branch was very.
And it's actually still open. So.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started playing, I think I started going there.
That's what I've heard, and I've heard that so often. I either hear people have never heard of Paint Branch, or that's where they learned to play golf and grew up playing. So I hear a lot of those.
It was a great course. I mean, great location. And one of the things, and I'm sure you've met all kinds of people. each course offers something different. Like you said, you know, you can go from a huge facility to a smaller facility, but it's still golf, right? So we're still in the game of golf.
Still hitting a rock in a gopher hole.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, I sincerely appreciate just the sport and the love of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you just said something and made me remember. So when we were out there today, we talked about COVID earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone has been trying to find ways where we don't have to touch the ball, the stick, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
We're just getting our ball out. And you had these really cool cups.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is the new, like, COVID style cups, right?
Yeah, so one of the companies out there actually produces a COVID cup.
Oh, wow.
It's a little tiny miniature version of a putting green cup, but it's, you know, it goes on top of the,
Oh, that look familiar.
it goes on top of the golf course normal cup. So we have the normal putting green cup inside the ground.
Nice.
On top of it is just basically the little top
It was
part.
really cute, y'all.
It's really neat. It gives you the opportunity to reach in and reach out.
Mhm.
However, it's an expensive little sucker.
Uh-oh.
I mean, it was when we were looking at what are we going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Do we use the pool noodle? I didn't much care for the pool noodle.
Those can be tricky. I've seen those on a few courses.
I've seen PVC in the
Mm-hmm.
cups. I've seen
Upside down.
cups flipped over.
Yep.
You know, the big thing for me at least, and
Mhm.
I think a lot of others were, we didn't want to just putt to the cup
Right.
and have it bounce off. We wanted it to drop, and this allowed us to do that without having to take the flag stick out,
Right.
without having to do that.
Well,
So
we appreciate it because I think everyone is always searching for the sound, right?
yes, so that was
yeah.
the one thing. I'm like, I was like, again, it's good. It looks like once they're at the top of it too,
Yeah.
it looks like it's painted, but it's not
Yeah.
painted. But I mean, that has definitely been a change too. Is that I mean the bunkers?
Yes.
I mean, everybody pretty much had to remove
The rakes.
rakes.
Wow.
Now, we look at it. Even when COVID's over,
All right.
how many courses are actually going back to them?
So, okay, so from a superintendent's perspective, does that make your job a little bit more labor intensive?
Yes and no.
Hopefully no one's sitting in the sand every time, but.
No, but you know, I still feel, although the bunkers are a hazard,
Mhm.
they are the most work for the least reward. Absolutely. I mean, because anytime the rain washes it out, you got to push them all back up, or you have to rake them constantly to rake out the footprints, smooth them out. With COVID, you know, the golfers aren't raking out their own footprints. But of course, we always get those golf courses and golfers who don't rake them out anyway.
Well, there you have it.
They think that's exclusively.
Rake the bunkers when they come back.
I mean, they think it's exclusively our job,
Right.
and it's like, well, not really. It's the golfer's responsibility. What we are seeing, at least on my end,
Mhm.
and I've talked to a few others about this. You're now able to get a drop a lot of times, if I'm not mistaken, or if you're in a bunker, if you're in the footprint, you just take it out,
Correct.
drop.
Correct.
If we're raking the bunkers pretty frequently,
Mm-hmm.
we normally don't have too many footprints.
Good.
And even after I've played, like I've played a course since,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, doesn't really. Every now and again, I'll be in a footprint, but you know, how many people are in every bunker?
True.
And if we're staying on top of it, yes, it is labor intensive, but you gotta think about something else that a lot of people don't think about, especially is anytime that we mow the rough and all that around the greens,
Mm-hmm.
we gotta hop off the mower, pick up the bunker rakes, put it in the bunker.
So then
And
it's
then
kind of
when-
less work right
Then
now.
when the
for-
sand machine guy goes in,
Yeah.
he's got to take the rake out of the bunker to rake it.
Okay.
So everybody's putting it in, putting it out,
Right,
putting it in,
right.
putting it out. Then the golfers leave them on the side because some courses want them in the bunkers,
Right.
some courses want them out of the bunkers,
Right.
and that depends on the course itself.
So
Really
many,
does.
So many different rules.
And then it's, you know, hey, if you walk on this side, then you can't find a bunker rake. Then you got all of the bunker rakes all around. Then you got, people running them over. Then you got to
Right.
check them to make sure that the handles aren't splintered
Right.
or that everything is,
So
then you
there's a
got to
lot that
maintain them
goes
in the
into
win-
these bunkers. This is
This
way
is just
more
the
than
bunker
I
rakes,
thought.
too.
Yeah.
I'm like, So, we're looking at them like, we may not even go.
They're like, we're
We may
good.
not-
We're
we may
we're
not even-
fine.
we may not even go back to, because the bunker rakes,
Yeah.
each individual bunker rake's expensive little sucker too.
I didn't realize there was so much work already, even before COVID,
Mhm.
related to the bunker rakes. That's crazy.
Mhm.
Well, Ben, I will tell you, I don't want to take up your entire day, but when I tell you all, I'm so thankful. I mean, we have had 4 hours. We've had
Yeah.
9 holes together.
Mhm.
9 holes together. But I do appreciate your time, and I think it's invaluable the work that you all do and the information, especially with the Maryland Turf Council. And I didn't know that, about the youth programs and the additional information that's out there. So I do want to say thank you for joining us with
Thank you.
Road2Par. I know we will be seeing much more of each other.
I hope so.
And I tell you, please check out, and your name on IG. What is your name on IG?
What is it? Golf Turf Nerd.
Golf Turf Nerd. I'm
Golf
trying to
Turf
tell you,
Nerd.
he's got some pretty cool shots and information, and it's one of those things where golf is so much more than just what we see on TV. There's a lot of great people like Ben, his crew and staff that are really making a difference for us to be able to enjoy this game. So thank you all for joining us on Road2Par, and thank you, Ben, and we look forward to seeing you all on the next one. All right now. Well, thank you for joining us for another wonderful show of Road2Par, the podcast. We just wanted to remind you that views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on Road2Par, the podcast are that of the hosts and Road2Par LLC. All of our guests, callers, advertisers are independently of their own. So thank you again for joining us, and look forward to having you join us on our Road2Par.